morning, or wherever you are in the world, good afternoon, good evening, however you're doing. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, actually. I actually did start it a while ago. And people ask me a lot, how do I string my scar barrels? With string. Nah. This is a very short, or at least I hope it to be short, video guide on how I use a single length of string, or fishing line, to string my scar barrels. The reason I actually do this is because I like the aesthetic of not having tape all over my scar barrel, and given the fact that I machine and have had machined aluminium and Delrin scars, it seems a shame to put all that nice machining to waste by throwing tape on it. Like, you can put tape on it and there's nothing wrong with that, but tape tends to let the string loosen over time, and the way I tie these, they don't lose tension as much or as quickly as tape does. So let's get started. You will need for this tape. Well, that's not tape, that's string. You will need string. I use 0.27 mil. And you will need yourself a pair of small cutters or something to cut the string with. And you will need your scar barrel. Now, this is an aluminium one that I've made, but any scar barrel will do. I didn't make this. I had it made by a friend. I had it made by a friend who also anodized it using his company. When I did have these for sale, they were $20 a piece. So let's just start by putting the first one through the hole. Now, because this doesn't use tape, it's going to require a little bit more delicate finger work than other scars, but that's okay. For this, the orientation doesn't matter, the twist rate doesn't really matter, it's the same no matter what twist rate you use. You're going to have to basically rely on both hands to keep tension on this at all times. So for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to go with a 6-string quarter turn configuration because I like 6-string quarter turn. So use your thumb. So you'll see here, once I've run the first one through, I run a fair bit, probably run about full arm's length. You can't see it. I run about a full arm's length of string through the scar, and then I use my thumb to hold that, so it's still connected to the reel. I hold it like that, and then I just start working my way around. So I've set up the twist rate the way I want it to, and then I go down towards the base. I use my thumb again to hold it tight while I work on this. And the reason I like to hold it tight with my thumb is because when you're stringing it, the looser the strings are, the more difficult it will be to string it properly all the way through. You might not be able to visualize it right now, but I've actually just accidentally let go of that. I've let go with my thumb of the reel end of the string, and so it means that when I try to string later on, if I don't pull that tight again, I'm going to have difficulty getting my latest thread around it. I'm already having difficulty and I'm second string in. So I've pulled that through now, and so this is just a rinse and repeat sort of process. You grab one, you pull it through, and then you go to your next land, string, whatever you want to call it. Like the inside of scar barrels, the way rifling is done, it's technically lands, but people are pedantic and people are annoying, and there's all sort of things to be said about it. So the common terminology is 6-string because people used to use original strings, like individual strings rather. And so they're called lands. So this scar is going to be a 6-land quarter turn scar barrel. I'm going to annoy the crap out of you with my voice while I finish stringing this because my voice is annoying, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. I don't like my voice either. I just talk because it fills the gap in the void. Because if you stare too long into the void stares back. So I'm currently at 4 strings around, 2 to go, and the reason I use so much string is because I'm already down to two lands to go, and I've got that much string left, so I can fit it on screen now. This is more delicate than sewing, prove me wrong. And you've got to be very careful when you're stringing these like this, not to twist your strings, because if you twist your strings, well, it's not going to work, is it? It's just how it is. While I'm here too, I might as well tell you about the different twist rates. So Bradley Phillips covers this much better than I do, but the basic twist rates that I work with for different darts, because that's the thing is, the twist rate you use is mostly going to be dependent on what darts you're using, not necessarily the FPS you're using, but the darts you're using. You can use the same twist rate at any FPS, but your darts will change, and that will be what it is. So when you use 6 strings, you can use it 6 strings or 4 strings. It doesn't really matter. The problem is that darts that aren't worker require a much more aggressive twist rate. So workers, they use a 6-string 8th turn, or I use a 6-string 8th turn scar barrels for workers, and I go 6-string quarter turn for ACCs and FVJs. Yes, that's right, I still use FVJs. Brisbane is barbaric. Okay, so I've got my 6 strings now. I've got this much string left. Now, the good thing about my scars is there is actually a little lip. So I hold first bit tight. You can see one of my strings is already loose here. This will be dealt with in a moment. So I'm going to pull the tip of my string through underneath. And you can use your cutters gently for this to loosen up your last string, so that you can see, now that's nice and loose. I'm going to pull my string through. This is really a 3-hand job. I'm just using my mouth to hold the string. There you go, so that's through. I'm going to pull it tight, and then I'm going to tie a knot. So it's now under, so now I can go back through the loop that I've created, and I'm going to make a small knot. This is the holding knot. So there's 2 knots to this process. There's the holding knot, which I've just made. So now I've got that there. And now I'm going to work my way back around to tighten up the scar. So from the way I tied it that way, so, and now I'm going to tighten it that way, because this is now the end of my string. And so you can cut, you know, the excess off the knot you've got, or not, it doesn't really matter. And so hold your knot down and then pull very gently from the base towards the tip of the muzzle, and so that will tighten up the string. Lock it down with your thumb and work your way back around. It's going to be difficult to show you because it's a difficult and very delicate process. If you go too tight, you will break your strings easily. If you go too loose, your darts just won't function nicely through it. It's really, really annoying to do. And I don't usually like stringing scars, but I do them for customers because it looks nicer. And I'm picky. And I'm a perfectionist. So just work your way back towards your uncut length of string. So I've got 1 left to go. So now I've got only that. And so I've pulled it. And so now all of my strings are relatively tight, but not too tight. So I've got this length of string, which is the holding knot. And now I've got the rest of this string, which is going to become what is called the locking knot. So I'm going to cut the string with enough to tie another knot. Now, same process again. This is much more easy now that the strings are held by that holding knot. So basically try and pull your string under, pull the end of your string under and through, past your holding knot as close as you can to the base. So I've got myself a loop here. It's under my 6th string or 6th land, and I hold it. I pull that knot tight, and that's it. I've now strung the scar. So it's a little bit sloppy, and I wouldn't actually give that to a customer because it's a little too sloppy, but that is how you tie it. So as long as your holding knot is properly tied and you maintain tension properly as you pull your strings back around, you will actually create nice even rifling all the way through. And once you've created nice even rifling, you will be able to then cut these strings here. Just for the sake of ceremonious purposes, I will cut the strings. I'm going to cut this and restring it anyway, but that's how you string any scar barrel with one continuous length of string.